Mike Alcoholic. To me, 6 and 7, and it's hard to talk about 7 without talking about 6. 6 and 7 is like going to the doctor's office. I got a sneaky suspicion that something's wrong with me, and I go to the doctor's office, and I go up in there, and he checks me out, and I do in fact have something. He tells me what it is. He said, and it's fatal. He says that all is not lost. There's something you can do about it. There's a course of action that you can take, a regimen of medicine, if you will. So I say I'm willing to do it, and I'm walking out of the doctor's office, walking out of the building, and the sun hits me, and I guess it's this time of year that heat wave hits me, and the question I have for myself, has anything changed? And the answer is no. I've just been made aware that I was sick, and I've said I'm willing to do something. And that's where I am in 6 and 7. I just got through doing 4 and 5. I've been made aware of these defects. I've been told that they're fatal. I've said that I'm willing to do something. Prayed to God to give me the willingness, but I haven't done anything yet. Nothing's changed. The more I stay around here, the more I find out what a big part I play in my recovery. If I look at that 7-step prayer, it says, may I go out from here and do your bidding. That means I got to do it. It says, I think it's 68, just to the extent as I do as I think he would have me, does he enable me to match Clamadu serenity. That means I got to do it. In Bill's story on 13, it says, when in doubt, sit quietly, asking for the strength and direction to meet my problems as he would have me, I got to do it. It's me praying to God and not just hearing, but heeding that little voice that's always been there. Like the voice that was there before I broke in that house to get some more money to get some solid alcohol. There was a voice that said, Mike, this is not a good idea. Don't do this. But I didn't listen to it. And listening to that voice and having that pause between impulse and action and practicing the opposite is how these things are removed. I mean, the 12 and 12 talks about it on 65. It says, in no case does God render us white as snow and keep us that way without our cooperation. These must be things we must be willing to work toward ourselves. You know, it's just where I'm looking to shoot for. You know, on that same page, it defines entirely ready. I'm willing to move toward the very best I can be or can know. That's just what I'm shooting for. But I've got to do some footwork. I mean, if I think I can just sit in a closet and pray to God to remove these things, that'd be like me being starving, locking myself in a closet, expecting God to shove an Oscar Mayer through the keyhole. It's not happening, you know? So what do I have to do? I have to constantly tell myself that the good things that happen in recovery, I give God the credit because I've got a disease that wants me to give me the credit. And what I have to do is I get the strength from God to act the opposite, right? It's like that coffee pot in the back. It's full of black coffee, right? But what happens if you start putting clear water in it? Eventually it clears up. So if I'm putting the opposite and acting the opposite of those things in my life clears up just like that by default. There's no way it can't. So the defects are removed by me living differently. That happens in 10, 11, and 12, not in 6 and 7. I can get stuck in 6 and 7 and live the rest of my life there and nothing happens. It's how do I live in 10, 11, and 12? You know, if I've got fear, I pray to God to give me courage. If I've got a problem with selfishness, well, 4 and 5 said I did, I've got to go do something for somebody. If I've got a problem with dishonesty, and I'm not just talking about cash register dishonesty, I'm talking about dishonesty with myself, get God to give me honesty, ask for honesty, or get some accountability partners in my life that'll tell me the truth, not bullshit cosigners, which are a dime a dozen. You know, if I got a sponsor that's willing to tell me the truth, or just pat me on the head and say everything I think is okay. No. I need somebody to tell me the truth. Love me enough to tell me the truth. You know? And, you know, this is just how I see 6 and 7. I've been to 1,000 meetings on 6 and 7. And you'd be surprised how they end up sounding like we just sit here and pray to God for these to be removed. And very little is talked about what we actually do with God's help to make it happen, which the book is replete with, is my duty. Because what I find is that God's going to do for me what I can't do for myself, but He's not going to do for me what I can. And these steps have been put in front of me to test my willingness to see what I'm willing to do. How much am I willing to change? Am I willing to act differently? Because the old way of life was just me to pray to God, get me out of this one in the foxhole, and then as soon as He would grant me my prayer, I'd give Him the big finger. Well, see, this way of life's a little different. I constantly thank God for the direction He's given me, but I'm doing the footwork here. Because I didn't see God in the bar exam. But He gave me the strength to study for it for 6 months and pass it on the first try. So, these things, I'm walking around here. And I got to do these things. And He's going to watch me fall on my ass again. Or He can watch me prosper. And watch me give Him the credit. And that's what I think about 6 and 7. It's no wonder there's not much about it in the book, because there ain't much to it. It's a realization and a decision that the book makes clear. The decision may be vital, will have little permanent effect unless at once followed by a strenuous effort to do the rest of the steps. I've had a spiritual awakening as a result of these steps, and I'll pass.